Hello friends, welcome to Altenew's Build a Garden for the month of April. Morning Glory is truly a beautiful kit. This large stamp set has 11 sentiments to support the gorgeous image. And with its coordinating stencil and die set and even a blending brush, just add your coloring medium and you've got everything that you need to make heartfelt cards. If you've watched any of my recent Altenew videos, you'll know that the stamp wheel is a new stamping platform for me. I love that I can easily restamp my images without worrying about anything being misaligned. The image and the sentiment have been stamped with black VersaFine ink on Bristol Smooth cardstock. To ensure I get a crisp image, I like to use a pressure tool. I've stamped everything on the same panel. I don't want to risk getting any ink accidentally on the sentiment, so I've cut that piece away and I'm going to use the coordinating die to cut it. I've done up the Morning Glory 2 times, once in pink and the other in blue. The stencils are easily lined up and this really is quick and easy coloring. For the pink flowers, I'm using a combination of puffy heart and rose quartz for the flower petals. Using both the blending brush that came with the kit and some of the brushes from the micro blending brush set. This new set comes with 4 brushes in 2 different sizes. I love stenciling with these brushes. The brush end is very soft and dense. The ink goes on ultra smooth. For each of the flower petals, I'm applying my dark ink right at the base. After I've added the puffy heart, then I'll switch over to the rose quartz, blend out where the 2 inks meet, and then take it up to the petal's edge with very light pressure. But as I do this, I do mix it up a little bit between the petals. Some of the petals will have a darker overall gradient appearance than others. This stencil will complete the coloring of the Morning Glory. As I said earlier, these stencils are easily lined up to the image, but it also comes with an illustrated guide that really makes it very clear how to use them. This same stencil will also color in the stems. Whenever there is more than one area to be stenciled, there will be an etched dividing line between the areas, making it very clear that the stencil needs to be repositioned. For the stems, I'm using eucalyptus, and the center of the flowers has been done with warm sunshine. I'll continue to use that dark green eucalyptus for the pretty little tendrils. For the leaves, I'm using a combination of frayed leaf and forest glades. Frayed leaf is my lighter color. I'm applying that right on the tip, and then at the base of the leaf, I'll put in my shadow area, forest glades. For the blue Morning Glories, everything was stenciled exactly the same way, except for, of course, the flowers, and they have been done up with the fresh dye inks, dusk, the darker blue at the base of the petals, and then finished off with a lighter blue ocean waves. I really love that stenciling levels the playing field for all crafters, no matter what their skill level is. The result will always be beautiful. Coordinating die is easily lined up to the image, and I like to use some post-it note tape to hold it in place as it goes through the die cutter so it doesn't slip out of position. To add some nice dimension, I also use the die to cut white sheet foam, and I'll stack my image on top of that. And to have my sentiment consistent with the Morning Glory, I've stacked that as well. I've created a little side panel for each of my 2 cards. I'm using Canson XL watercolor paper, and it's about 2.5 inches wide and the full height of an A2 size card, 5.5 inches. It has been well saturated with water, and now I'll just sprinkle on some of Lindy's magical powders. This one is called Ramblin' Rose. I'll add in some additional spritzes of water to finish dissolving the powder. This pink was a little bit darker than I anticipated, so I'm taking some white gouache and I'm just pouncing it on the panel to give some overall lightness. For the card with the blue morning glories, I used Tibetan Poppy Teal. The color was perfect and I didn't have to make any modifications to that one. Because these panels are quite wet, they do take a while to dry. They were both spattered using a fan brush and applying white gouache that has been slightly watered down. To start preparing my background for the card base, I have a panel of white cardstock that is 2 3/4 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall. It has been adhered to a piece of white sheet foam. I should have cut my foam to the same size, but I didn't, so now I'm trimming off the excess. Pink panel is wider than it needs to be so that the white foam-backed panel will overlay it. It is adhered to the left-hand side of the card base. The white foam-backed panel is adhered to the right-hand side, overlapping the pink panel. And at this point, I did pop my MISTI on top and let the glue dry completely so that there was good contact between the surfaces. Foam-backed Morning Glory was adhered to the white panel so that it would overhang onto the pink. The cards will be embellished with Radiant Gems enamel dots. This set has lots of different colors. I'll be using the white ones around the floral image and then some clear ones on the leaves to look like pretty dewdrops. For the last finishing touches, I'll add in some Nouveau Crystal Drops Simply White. And that wraps up this project featuring Altenew's Build a Garden for the month of April, Morning Glory. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making these cards. As always, I appreciate your visit.